Hello and welcome to this video on acceptance criteria. Let's get started right away. Acceptance criteria is how you know that a story has been fully completed. There's something else called the definition of done that is common to all stories. Those are common criteria, but this is specific criteria to an individual story. Acceptance criteria is really, what does it mean to be done? The best definition that I like to use is if the product owner or anyone were to come to you and say, you came to them and said, I am done with story XYZ, with the cart checkout story. And they were to ask you, great, prove to me that you're done. What would you do? Well, you would go through a certain sequence of steps that reflects what was written on the story card and what you discussed in your conversations with the product owner or their representative, right? This is how you would prove that you were done. It's probably what you'll do to demo the software when you're actually in the demo at the end of the sprint. Often I like to get testers involved in doing this because they're great at wrapping their mind around all those possible cases that would come up. Not that coders aren't, but it's just another place to get them involved. And it helps testers then move from the role in a traditional project, which is defect finders, right? In traditional projects, they're the gotcha people, because they're looking for the place that we can break the software. And in an agile context, we're all one team. And so we want to move testing from being defect finders to being defect avoiders, right? So the best testers will actually write no bugs because they've helped the development of the product so much that there were no bugs in the end. Everything was so clear and worked so well together that there was no bug to be filed because it was all well understood. So acceptance criteria. There's several different versions of it. Let's start out talking about just the very clear ones that have a given, when, then kind of structure. Love to use this because it's easy to take this and then insert that into some test-driven development kind of models. But even if you're not doing that, this given, when, then table just clarifies so much what exactly it is you're talking about, because you can say something in writing, but when you give examples, it makes it so much clearer. So let's take a look. Walk through this. Given when some existing condition, right? Given an existing thing, when something happens, then this result will happen. So you're going to give these three pieces of data. Given, here's my starting state. When something happens, then I expect this result. So if I'm looking at a written specification like this that says, for the website cart calculation, you need to give a quantity discount. If sales are greater than $10, give a 5% discount. Otherwise, don't give a discount. If they have an excellent customer rating, give them a 5% discount. And orders over to $75 get a 10% discount. Okay, cool. It's kind of confusing, but that's okay. You can do that. There is actually so much ambiguity in this that it's very easy for there to be a whole bunch of defects that come out of this. Can you see where that would be? I'm just going to give you a second to stare at it before I move on to the next page. Actually, I'm going to have you if you want to push yourself a little bit, pause the tape right now, or pause the video right now, and build yourself a table that shows what are all of the possible variations in this. Okay? Pause it. Pause it. All right, I'm moving on. So here's what I came up with out of that. Given a customer rating of good, right? Here's the excellent customer rating. It didn't actually say what other customer rating there was. So there's good and there's excellent. It just said the excellent one back here, right? Excellent customer rating. Oops. So given the base condition of good, when they have a $10, when there's $10 of product in their cart, they get a 0% discount. sales are greater than $10, give a 5% discount. So it's $10.01, then you get a 5% discount. Given that they have a good rating and a $75 in there, they get a 5% discount. So you're still getting the same discount. And at $75.01, then you get the 10% discount. Now, if they've got an excellent rating and they have 1 penny in their cart, they get the 5% discount. And if they have an excellent rating and get $75 in their cart, they get a 5% discount. And if they have an excellent rating and $75.01, then they get the 10% discount. Now, what you might not have even thought of was returns. What about returns? If they have if they're doing a return of anything, they get no discount on that. Nothing special happens. And then if you have an excellent, then they have, and you have a return at all, then you get no discount on it. And you could keep going on this actually, and give what conditions, what would you give them if they had that? This seems kind of cheap. These people are only giving us at $75, both good and excellent get a 10% discount. See, but the benefit that this person gets on the excellent is they get the 5% between 0 and 75. These people start getting it at $10. So the bonus that they get is anything from a penny to $10 is 5% discount. So you can see how that works, how that table makes it easier to know exactly the criteria. And then as a coder, you could build yourself some data that you chunk through your system as you're coding it, right? And I'm going to test these different variations. Do I get this? Do I get that? Do I get this? Is that okay? Then I got it all right. Now on top of that, there's 3 different types of acceptance criteria. There's functional, non-functional, and performance. You may split out some other variations within your particular context, but these are the general classifications. Functional criteria are exactly what we just talked about. They're the if this, then that kind of criteria. They're the observable, very concrete criteria. Non-functional are qualities, right? The accessibility, configurability, that you have the itties, right? They're all the itties. They're things that are either observable immediately or observable in the long run, but they aren't given when then kinds of statements can't be made about them. You can say it meets the acceptance, the accessibility criteria. You could probably write out some detailed accessibility criteria, but it's more vague than that. Like configurability is a very vague and non-functional criteria. Portability, up to date. I would want you to put more detail around this when you put those things in there, particularly things like up to date or accessibility. You'd want to have those criteria in there. And performance obviously is its own thing. You want to be sure that whatever you're building operates well under performance strain. So those are the types of acceptance criteria that you'll be trying to build with each of your stories. So again, want to keep your stories small so your acceptance criteria are small. And the fewer acceptance criteria you have, the more likely it is to be accurately created. So if you have a whole bunch of acceptance criteria, try and split it on some of those acceptance criteria. Is there a place where I can split this story smaller so that it has fewer acceptance criteria and yet still is a soup to nuts complete vertical slice of the feature that we're trying to get? So that's the idea of acceptance criteria. I hope your work is well accepted. Right. I'll see you in the next video.